years ago, yeah. I had a little Cherokee Terrier take a chunk out of a resident space one time.
Good morning. It is 10 o'clock. We'd like to call the September 9th Human Services Committee meeting to order. First on the agenda, we have the minutes of the August 12th Human Services Committee meeting. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. And before we do that, we need an approval of the agenda. My apologies, my screen had rolled down already.
Move to approve the agenda.
Support. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Amendments, conditions, corrections? All right. With that being said, we'll move on to public comment. You have 5 minutes to address the board if you so choose. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? All right. You will also have the opportunity at the end of the meeting as well. Now moving on to committee items, the minutes of the August 12th meeting. I did hear a motion in a second. Did you get that, Carrie Ann? Okay. Support? Okay, yeah. Thank you. My apologies. You okay now? All right. Next on the agenda, we have Lifeways monthly report.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Today's monthly report related to Lifeways and our activities. I would like to acknowledge that we're at the point now where we have a draft contract related to the facilities and maintenance support that Jackson will be providing on behalf of Lifeways. Right now, this week, we will be presenting them to our subcommittees of the boards for approval in time for that you will be able to then take it to your full board next week, I believe is when you will be taking it. So we are very excited, myself and Gerard, related to all the activity that got us to this point and the work with Rick related to coming up with this mutual contract that will be a benefit to both organizations. So we're excited about that. The other item related to activities with the counties, we are also in discussions, as I've talked before, related to Hillsdale, and we hope to have that in place as well for this next contract year. The base contract that we're utilizing here with the Jackson facilities is the template that we'll be using for Hillsdale as well. They're already providing that. We're just expanding to the group homes. So we are going to move along with that. And then we have had discussions with both Jackson County Circuit Court and with the Sheriff's Office related to opportunities for strategies around local funding. So we're still pursuing those options as well. The tenant leases, as they continue to come up due, we renegotiate those for increasing our ability to generate local funds, local revenue. And we do have currently in place, and I believe they're open now, the Halloween store there that will be there through the November term. So we do have that in place, and CBR, our leasing agent, has also presented us with a potential interested party for that space long term. So we are looking at that as well. The other thing that I would like to mention is related to Medicaid expansion. As you know, that the Healthy Michigan Plan did get approved, and it will have a significant impact on the delivery of services that we provide at Lifeways when we look at the uninsured that come to our door currently. So this is going to be a positive benefit. One of the things that we do need to continue to do and have support from the counties is that there is discussion about the fact that with the Medicaid expansion, that general fund dollars will be freed up, and that is true. However, to the extent that they're proposing a 75% reduction in general fund dollars to community mental health is a little concerning. So we are continuing to advocate and work with our state association around the general fund issue, because not everybody, Medicaid expansion is not going to cover all of those individuals that currently are being costed to general fund, but it will help with the uninsured in our community that are ending up in the emergency room for crisis services, both whether it's physical or behavioral health nature. So I just wanted to, let the commissioners know that and hope that we can continue to garner your support as we look at meeting the needs of our county and our residents. The other thing that's in your packet that you probably are aware of, and if you're not, it's something you should learn more about, is related to the mental health court. That's a collaboration with Lifeways and with the courts. They have actually we're one of the counties that provide a mental health court service, and they've done a study where they monitored the individuals for about 330 individuals over a course of 30 months after they were discharged from the mental health court program. The mental health court program is aimed at individuals that are both receiving substance abuse as well as a mental illness, and they saw that the recidivism was significantly lower for those individuals as a result of the treatment that they received as part of that mental health court. It's a diversion type of program, very intense, where they have to follow the treatment orders of the court in order to successfully graduate out of the program and not end up going into the criminal justice system, to the prison or to jail. So it is a positive thing, and we're continuing to support that as an agency. But I wanted to let you know that because you guys partner with us on that, there's significant outcomes, and it should be something that should be applauded. That's about it. Any questions?
Commissioners, any comments? What questions, comments?
Yes.
Commissioner Rice?
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hello?
When you put on here, I've seen this a couple times, exploring the potential funding strategies with Jackson County Circuit Court and the
Yes.
Sheriff. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Is there any progress? What the status is right now?
Yeah, I can have Gerard speak on that, because Gerard's the one, Gerard, if you wouldn't mind coming up.
With respect to the Undersheriff, we had one meeting. We talked about the various opportunity services that could be available and how they would tie in with what we could do. We are kind of waiting to combine those potential strategies with trying to set up a meeting with Charles Atkins. One of the, we feel there's a lot more opportunity with the Child Care Fund. I'm sorry. We feel there's a little more opportunity with the Child Care Fund itself, and some of the strategies with the Sheriff and the Child Care Fund potentially could tie together. The challenge we've had with the Child Care Fund has been scheduling with vacations, and I know budget has been a focus on your end, so we think that meeting will potentially happen this month, and we want to get several people from Charles' department as well as several of our clinicians and finance people from our end to sit down and brainstorm. So scheduling has really been the big issue, and but it's going to happen. Yeah, unfortunately, it does take time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioners, any other comments, questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have Department of Human Services. Jerome?
Good morning. I would like to once again thank the commissioners for their support with the Child Care Fund this past month. We are moving forward with some new things within our office, and that is to include our online services for our payments programs, our applications. We actually have 12 computer kiosks in our office that clients can apply, and we have 4 staff in the lobby to help them to apply. We've actually doubled the amount of online applications. We're hoping to go fully online, full applications by the end of this month. That's going relatively well. We were supposed to have electronic documentation management program where we were going to go paperless with our payments program. That's been delayed till January at this point in time. The program just wasn't able to be cleared of all the bugs that were in the system, so we're going to wait till January for that. We, again, as Mary Beth talked about, we're looking at the Medicaid expansion. Since it wasn't passed with enough support, it looks like we're looking at maybe April 1st before that will occur. So we're in preparation for that and how we will handle that within our office. We're hoping that our online application process will assist with that. We just completed a very successful Stuff the Bus campaign where we collected backpacks. In my report, I had 330. We're actually up to 350 backpacks at this point. We still had some come trickle in. And we've been able to make sure that every school-age child that's in foster care has a backpack and supplies for school. We also have reached out to the Head Start program and donated some to them, as well as other children that are within the school district. We are reaching out to them through their school principals. Our next project that we'll be working on is an Angel Tree project, where we try to see that all the children in care have gifts for Christmas. We were very successful last year. We hope to be even more successful this year. One of the other things that we're working on at this point in time is a new computer program for our Children's Services program. It's called MySACWIS. It looks like we will be up and fully operational in mid-October. We're hoping that that will provide more data and information for us, as well as the federal monitors that are taking a look at how we're doing with Children's Services. And that's all I have at this point. Any questions?
Commissioners, comments, questions?
All right.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Jerome. Next on the agenda, we have the Medical Care Facility Quarterly Report and Financials.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll start with finance. We did a routine review of census, staffing to census, overtime, financial statements, bank statements, and resident trusts. Everything tied out. Overtime was slightly up due to vacancies, which are all now filled. Our AR days out remain very strong at 42, and comparatively speaking, we have about half the number of days out that our sister facilities do. JCMCF continues to be profitable year to date despite our case mix challenges in Medicare and census running slightly lower than it was budgeted and expected. Cost reports were accepted for both Medicare and Medicaid room rates are going to increase slightly as well as private pay rates due to our strategic spending to the cost report. Our overall Medicaid payment will increase as JCMCF reached the 51,000 days required for less bed tax also, which means a significant gain for us. Under our people pillar, I would like to introduce to you this morning our Assistant Administrator, Janine Detloff, if she'd like to come up. Janine has worked in the role of Assistant Administrator at Metalodge for 3 years, and she was a business manager at that building for many, many years prior to that. Janine worked in the nursing home industry for over 26 years. She has a Master of Science in Administration in Human Resources, and she chose JCMCF, as well as us choosing her, because of our culture and our person-directed caregiving. Janine is currently orienting to each department. She's spending time in every single department in the building, learning about Public Act 280 and all of the requirements of county facilities, and the history and operations of our medical care facility. So meet Janine Detloff. Good morning.
Hello.
Any questions for Janine? There you go. Thank you. We continue M&A negotiations with our RN union. Everything seems to be on track. We're almost completed with that. We filled all of the staff vacancies that were opened the first 2 weeks in August, and everyone has been oriented. It is now on the floor. We had some really cool outings over the summer. We took 36 of our residents, which is an enormous undertaking, to the fair, and they spent the day at the fair. We had 3 shifts of bus loads that took them. We had 2 fishing trips to the trout pond. Everybody caught their fish and cooked it right there on a picnic. And then we entered 2 boats in the United Way Float Your Boat Race. And for those of you that might have been there, you saw the glorious sinkings that both of our boats had. But we did win the award for the most sunken boats. So we now proudly display that award. Under Quality, I met with the Policy and Procedure Team, as usual, for routine policy review and changes, reviewed all the incident reports that we had, which for a facility our size is quite a few. Routinely attended resident council and followed up on any questions or concerns that the residents had. All of them were minor, and all of them were followed up and completed. We had our monthly quality improvement meetings and continue with process improvement, training, and development. I provided oversight and guidance during our recent FRI survey, which is a self-reported incident that occurred that we did not find was an issue, but we have not heard back from the state yet, so we'll see. Our annual state survey completed and was resurveyed and was the best survey that we have had. 7 citations was the total, and all of them were minor, so we were very proud of that. I'm working with nursing on for the implementation of our chosen electronic medical record, which has to be up and running by June of 14. And finally, our strategic planning session is set for October, where we're going to review our current goals and establish any new goals that we may need. Do you have any questions for me?
I do, Sandy. First of all, Janine, again, welcome. Good to have you here. You mentioned the rate increase, and I would wonder, my question to you is, how does that rate increase compare with some of the private sector businesses in our community?
It's comparable. I wouldn't say that it's higher at all.
Okay.
It's very comparable.
Comments or questions from board? Commissioner Mahoney?
Correct. We are averaging and running approximately 2 beds lower per day. Right now, our census is higher than it has been. We were running 187 last week, almost all week, and we budgeted for 182. So we may be making up a little of that before year end. Yes, ma'am.
I just hear a lot of comments.
Right. Well, another thing to take back also is that it depends on whether it's a person that is male or female, if they're trying to come in, and what beds we have open. Male beds are very hard to find. We have more female beds open than male beds, so that's one of the things that is a challenge. No, not at all. No. Nope. It's our mission to serve those that are in need, so that never is a question.
And Sandy, finally, with the rainy summer that we have had, the abundance of rain, and as a farmer who appreciates it, I'm wondering if you have any updated information for us in regard to the roofing issues at the facility.
Our new roof has not leaked an iota, which is wonderful. The kitchen roof, which we still have some issues with, leaked for the first time this summer over this last rain that we just had, and they're coming to check it. It's back under warranty, so it was repaired. So we'll see a little bit later, hopefully today or tomorrow, what that situation is.
All right. Anyone else? All right, I believe that's it. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you all.
Next on the agenda, we had Mr. Toon, Health Department.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
It's good to see you. I've got a few things highlighted here in my report I'd like to just put a little more detail on for you. And of course, if you have any questions at the end, please feel free to ask me. Our Environmental Health Director recruitment is going well. We have 5 candidates that applied for the position, and includes Mary Farmer, of course, from the Health Department. She's doing a great job for us, and we expect to have that process pretty much concluded by about the middle of this month. So we're excited to get that taken care of. The Health Department, along with a number of other organizations in the community, including DHS and the Center for Family Health and the Community Action Agency and the ISD, are all working on the local child enrollment steering committee. I think I may have highlighted this last month in my report as well. Probably got a little bit more detail here in terms of the numbers that we're looking at in terms of trying to create a sustainable, coordinated system for outreach and enrollment of children in the community. The estimates are right around 1,400 to 1,500 children are probably still eligible for either My Child or Medicaid, and we'd like to try to get those children enrolled. And we think we have a funding opportunity that will come to us through the National League of Cities. Well, it's competitive, so there's no guarantee that we would get it, but that would be a planning grant. And if we're successful with that, we'd be eligible to apply for considerably more funds over a 3-year period that could be as much as $260,000. So we'll know more about that at the end of the month as the grant becomes available for application at the end of September. So we're looking forward to that. Medicaid billing and commercial insurance, I'd highlight that in my report. It actually, I think, caught us a little bit by surprise, but we're catching up to it. Effective July 1st of this year, there was a major state policy change that became effective that requires us to bill commercial insurance companies for people who may be duly enrolled on both Medicaid and a commercial insurance plan. So Medicaid always being last payer, we have to make sure that we put processes in place to bill commercial insurance companies. I know it seems kind of strange that they might be eligible for commercial insurance as well as be on Medicaid, but it is possible for that based on income.
Right. And the question?
Yes.
What's your lag time on reimbursement when you have to walk through these processes, and what is our cash flow situation then when we have this lag time, and how long is the lag time?
Well, the lag time is relatively short. If we do a good job of identifying who is on commercial insurance up front in the health department when people are coming in for referrals for this particular program, we probably get a turnaround denial of a claim from a commercial insurance company within a week to 10 days. And then we can turn around, we use that denial to bill Medicaid on fee-for-service and get reimbursed. So the only catch-up we're playing right now is that the claims that were already denied, we have to go back and rebill those. And I think the estimated take-back in terms of revenue from the state because we didn't do it right the first time was about $6,000 to $8,000. So we're already rebilling those. So it's a relatively short when we set the process up and do it right, and we've done that in the health department now.
When you're dealing with Medicaid versus private insurance, typically the records documentation is different. Are we able to work then with the local physicians, or are we using Allegiance Health to help as our clearinghouse for that documentation?
We're using the next-gen Jackson County medical record for doing our billing, which is then uploaded into the clearinghouse, which is called Networks. So we're using the same system. So the billing is pretty quick in terms of using that system. We're not using anything separately or different than what the healthcare providers are using. Anyway, we're catching up on that. We had a major meeting in the health department this week, and actually first part of last week, and we identified all the issues that we need to deal with, how we get all the information we need. This is kind of a new thing that we didn't anticipate. We had always been required to determine whether or not someone had commercial insurance before we billed Medicaid. We just weren't required to bill commercial insurance, and now we're being required to do that. I've requested the state consider some policy changes to this because the reality is on a commercial insurance plan, they're not providing a benefit for maternal and infant health services. It's not even part of their scope of benefits. So it almost feels like it's an exercise that we have to go through that gets us nowhere. But we'll sort through that with state staff that we've already talked to. On health integration, we've done a lot with that over the past month or so. I've initiated a draft action plan for moving that effort forward in the community. It's been shared with the Jackson Health Network staff for initial review and has now been shared with key staff in the health department as well. So we're looking to finalize that and begin to do I guess what I'd describe as a mutual training to understand how each entity's system works, if you will. Jackson Health Network has a very well-organized and developing still, but very well-organized network. And they've established metrics, they have an organizational structure. They also are very interested in how we can move forward with health integration, and we think that the best approach to that right now is to use public health department services as the first step. There are a wide array of services in the community that eventually would want to be linked up through the primary medical environment, but we think we have to start somewhere, and because I'm able to bridge between public health and Legion's Health, it's a good way to go. So that's been well accepted and supported by Legion, so we're going to move in that direction. We've been regularly updating health department staff as well on everything that's kind of community integrated health system related, both from Dr. Schultz, who is our part-time medical director, as well as myself, making sure they get the information they need from other sources. It is annual influenza vaccination season. We do have vaccine in stock and have clinics scheduled this month, also for county employees. People can also walk into the health department immunization clinic during its normal operating hours and get the flu shot as well. So we're geared up and moving forward with that. Interesting, I like to keep an eye on and keep track of other kinds of influenza viruses that are out there. All of us here are probably familiar with the 2009 H1N1 variant novel influenza virus, if you will, and the response that was required from the health department and community to that. So we kind of keep track of those things along with state and federal sources on other kinds of variant flu viruses. I did provide you some background on the H3N2 variant. It's another one of those that it seems to be associated with swine. And I think we have to pay a lot of close attention to those when they appear to be becoming transmissible between human to human. That's the really key trigger that we ought to watch for. And just for your information, for H3N2, seasonal vaccine is not designed to provide coverage for that particular virus. It probably wouldn't make sense at this point in time for it to do that, but it takes time to develop vaccines for new viruses as well. We've been dealing with a shortage of PPD reagent. We've been working closely with healthcare providers in the community and following the CDC's recommended strategies. This isn't the first time we've had a shortage of this reagent that's used for doing TB skin testing. We also see it periodically with different vaccines, and we adjust accordingly until manufacturers can catch up again and get the supply up to where it needs to be. We're busy gearing up for MSU and U of M nursing student internships. It's an activity we get involved in every year in the health department, and we do a really good job with it. It is quite a bit of work for a number of staff to prepare for it and to provide the experience that they're seeking, but we also look at it from the perspective that what we're really trying to do here is to also develop the next public health workforce. So that's why we do it. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you might have on anything in my report.
Commissioners? All right, I don't see any at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the MSU Extension. Yeah.
Good morning. Would you like to do the annual report first, or, okay, you can do that. All right, you should have a copy of the annual report for MSU Extension. This is something, again, that we committed to do under the memorandum of agreement, is present each county with a plan of what our work has been for the last year. One thing, if you notice in my message as from the district coordinator on the first page, is something that we're really excited about. It's called My Spartan Impact. And it's an opportunity for communities around the state, and it's divided up into the same 13 districts that MSU Extension is, to see what kind of impact MSU is having around different various communities. MSU is much broader than the campus in East Lansing, and even beyond the MSU Extension offices. We have experiment stations and a whole host of other operations that MSU takes part in. So just a couple of highlights from District 12 is that there's 3,938 MSU students from this district that currently are attending Michigan State University, and over 20,000 alumni that reside in this district. And in addition, we have over 20,760 4-H participants that have took part in some 4-H program that reside in this district. So we do have a lot of impact. It shows a whole host of other things in terms of economic impact and those kinds of things as well. So if you get a chance, I'd encourage you to take a look at that website. Looking at the 4-H Children and Youth Institute, one of the things that I highlighted last year in my report was this new idea that we had in 4-H called the Revolution of Responsibility, and it's looking at taking 4-H to a higher level in terms of community service and outreach in communities that 4-Hers can participate in. So we had a really neat success story this year through that at a local 4-H club. One of their members' parents was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so the club decided at the fair that they were going to draw awareness to that, and so they decorated their stalls in the horse barn to bring awareness to the issue of breast cancer and encouraged other clubs to do similar things on whatever issue was important to them. And many clubs responded to that and took that upon themselves to highlight issues that were important to them. So it was a really neat thing to see the club rally around those families and help them and help them during this time as they're struggling with those health concerns. In terms of other 4-H activities, we continue to help with Project Red, where we had over 1,250 kids. That's Rural Education Days that we partner with Farm Bureau on that, and the Ag Council to educate those youth. And one of the things that we've really tried to highlight in our programming is this idea of agricultural literacy. There are fewer and fewer people that understand how food production works, where food comes from. A lot of times you'll ask individuals, where do eggs come from, and you'll get the store, or whatever store they happen to go to get them. So one of the things that MSU Extension has really tried to focus on is this idea of agricultural literacy and food production awareness. And so this year at Parkside Middle School, we did a project called Program Money, and our 4-H staff and Phil Toko, one of our ag staff, worked together on a chicken raising project where these students took chickens from hatchlings through production, and they actually had a chicken barbecue at the end. They had every phase of that operation. They fed them, they weighed them, and they got them ready for processing, and then they consumed them. So it was really a good opportunity for those kids that don't come from that kind of background to understand what the food production system looks like. So that's just one way that we're doing that. Breakfast on the Farm, Family Farm Fest, all of those types of programs that we participate in are all geared around bringing a higher level of awareness for food production. I think that's really important for our society as we move forward, because food insecurity and our national security depends on food production here in this country, so it's really an important topic to focus on. Other things in the Agriculture and Agribusiness Institute, one important thing that we have coming up is we have a new dean in the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. He's sort of a recycled dean, but he's new to us right now. He was formerly in the college, went to be a vice president for the university, has now come back as dean again for at least 3 years. His name is Dr. Fred Poston. And he's interested in finding out what communities feel about Michigan State University, and in particular the College of Agricultural and Natural Resources. There's a lot of things swirling around out there about the focus of agriculture at MSU and students from Michigan's ability to get into the college, and a whole host of other topics, including the MSU Extension redesign and ag bio research and all those sorts of things. So Dr. Poston, along with the directors of Extension, Ag Bio Research, and a couple of other administrators from campus, are doing a statewide listening session tour. And so the event that's going to be taking place in District 12 will be held here in Jackson County at the Rogers Reserve, where we do chestnut research. We're actually going to do a chestnut roast along with that event to try to encourage some participation and see a little bit about what that facility does on a regular basis. But what these sessions are listening sessions for the dean and administrators to find out how people are feeling about the College of Agriculture at MSU. So right now, our primary role in Extension is audience recruitment. So we're working on inviting elected officials like yourselves and anyone else from the community that may have questions or concerns about the college, and have them come and participate. This won't be like some other listening sessions you may have heard in the past where it's an hour and 45 minutes of presentations about how wonderful the college is and then 15 minutes of questions at the end. This will be all question and answer. The dean will do very little speaking unless it's to address the questions. Questions will be handed in a 4x6 card format and then kind of grouped together, and I'll help to facilitate getting those questions to the appropriate person, and the dean will help to answer those. So we're really hoping to have a good turnout at that event and get people to come out, and if there are concerns or even some positive things that people would like to say about the college and extension and ag bio research, we'd love to hear those. So would encourage all of you to attend if you're available, and help us get the word out. If there's constituents that you know of that have addressed any of those kinds of questions to you, certainly would encourage you to let them know about this event or direct them my way, and I'd be happy to give them more information. Some other things going on in ag and agribusiness. The Master Gardener program was held here in Jackson County this year. We had 30 participants a little bit earlier in 2013. It was a great program. Bob Ricalt, who's housed here in Jackson part of the time, along with some of his colleagues, presented that program. They're currently running the same program in Washtenaw County, ongoing now, and I believe there's a couple of participants from Jackson County attending over there as well. So we're trying to keep that program moving forward and get as many participants through it as possible by doing kind of a 3-county rotation between Jackson, Washtenaw, and Livingston counties within this district. So we're glad to be able to continue to offer that. The MSU Product Center is an entrepreneurial development program that MSU has been offering now for 10 years. This is the 10th anniversary of the MSU Product Center. And so what that essentially is anyone who has an agricultural business idea that wants to help launch it, get it off the ground, the Product Center can provide counseling sessions for them, assistance with business plan development, product research. We have a very powerful database that we can type product ideas into to see what kind of competition is out there, what market share potential might be available, or even if anybody else has ever had that idea before. And so we've helped start some businesses, and we've helped also not start some businesses for people that have had ideas where there's already a lot of market saturation and their idea just doesn't seem to have a real high feasibility to that. We've helped them make those decisions as well. There are some success stories in Jackson County. We've had 102 counseling sessions with 13 clients over the last year. And there's actually one Jackson County business that's now offering their product in 102 Meijer stores around the state. So real good success story there. Another workshop that we put together through Ag and Agribusiness, Tom Guthrie is working in the equine area, and he and some of his colleagues worked together on understanding and investigating horse cruelty. And essentially what this was bringing awareness to animal control officers about the situation dealing primarily with thin and underweight horses. The last year, the drought conditions, hay supplies were very short. Grain supplies were also short, so the price of feed went really high for a lot of individuals raising horses. And so coming out of winter into the spring months when the horses started losing their winter coats, there was a lot of thin horses out there. In some cases, they were dangerously thin, but in most, it's just understanding how horses, typically horses in the Midwest, are overconditioned for where they should be. And so when we start seeing hip bones and rib bones and things on horses, people automatically assume that they're underconditioned, and that may not necessarily be the case. So this workshop really helped with some safe handling of horses for animal control officers that may not have any experience with those types of animals, and also an awareness of what constitutes abuse and what is just normal production practices. So this has been done, it was held in Monroe, and we had every county from this district represented. They did another one up north, and and they just did one in Mount Pleasant this past week. There was one up in the Upper Peninsula earlier as well. And then we're also going to be doing some other of these types of programs for producers as well coming up in the near future. But again, part of it's just about ag literacy and ag awareness and what's normal production and what isn't. So that's a primary part of those programs. Within our Greening Michigan Institute, we did the Citizen Planner program this spring. And that was a good opportunity for county elected officials and township officials to get together and talk about land use planning and zoning and all those sorts of things that go along with planning in communities. So it was a good program. I'd like to thank Phil Tocco for stepping outside of his role a little bit to help coordinate that and get that going. He had the presenters come in to do that, but Phil did a great job of doing the recruitment and setting up the room and all those sorts of things. And that's really what makes our reorganized system work, is local educators seeing a need in the community and helping to facilitate that with the resources that we have available. Another area in greening is with financial literacy and home buyer education. And we've served over 4,000 people around the state of Michigan with 416 programs, including some here in Jackson with participation from Jackson residents. Just helping people put together financial plans, helping those that have gone through or are facing foreclosure, or those that are just strictly trying to figure out how to put together a family budget with decreasing resources. So these have been very well received. Citizens that have gone through them have really been complimentary of the program and helping them get their life kind of on track financially. So we'll continue with these programs and move them around as broadly as possible. Last institute is health and nutrition, and we've just continued along with our supplemental nutrition assistance program. That's our SNAP program. That's what formerly known as food stamps. We do an educational program around individuals that do receive that food assistance. And this year we served over 1,500 contacts, so about 450 adults and 150 youth were served through that program with a staff person that we have in that institute. So things are going very well there. We're doing some new partnerships with Allegiance Health and some other things to try to expand our program in that area as well. Along that same line with food safety, preservation, Cottage Food Law programs, again, those are programs designed for people that want to start food businesses out of their home kitchens. There's certain baked goods and non-dairy kind of products, low-acid products that don't have a high food safety risk. Individuals can sell those from their home kitchen and don't have to have a USDA licensed kitchen to do that. So we do some educational training around what the regulations are, how to start those businesses, and help people get started with that. Jeannie Nichols, we're fortunate to have her as a resource for food safety and awareness and Cottage Food Law and the Serve Safe program here in our district. She's an excellent resource, and she's utilized statewide, but we're fortunate to have her here in Hillsdale, and she does a lot of her work between Hillsdale, Jackson, and Washtenaw counties, so we're really fortunate to have that. So with that, that completes my annual report. Are there any questions that you have about any of the work that we've done?
Commissioners, will cover his annual report before we move on to the second piece here. Are there any questions in regard to his report? All right, thank you, Matt.
Thank
well
you.
done, thank you, a lot of information. So moving on to, actually moving back up to letter F, we are looking for the MOU to be adopted to retain MSU their services.
So moved.
Support. A motion and support was made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Department on Aging.
Good morning. First item on my monthly report is an update about the Henrietta Nutrition Site. I've talked with you before that the attendance there is very low. There's been 1 to 3 people since last May. It's at times it would go up to 8 or 9. And we tried something where participants at an exercise class who were done with their class at 10:30 could take a cold meal with them. We were hoping that might, combined with the hot meal at noon, would get our meal count up, but that has not happened. The people in the exercise class have not been interested in that. So we are closing the Henrietta Nutrition Site, and I've been in communication with Henrietta and Waterloo Townships and Commissioner Lechka about it. So we informed this 3 seniors the last Wednesday of August that the last Wednesday of September will be the final day. And we'll check with the 3 people if they would like us to deliver frozen meals to their home that they could heat up or whenever they would like to have those. So, any questions about Henrietta? Okay. Okay, thank you. Last month, I talked about grant cuts close to $26,000 due to federal sequester. And one program that we will be stopping at the end of this calendar year are the emergency response call buttons. And the coordinator of our unmet needs program, Leslie Krantz, did contact the current company that provides those emergency call buttons to the 12 seniors, and they will honor the lower price, $20 a month, that then these seniors will pay after December. So they will not increase the fee. They'll keep it at a lower fee. And one person that Leslie talked to is even going to try it lower it even more. So that's good news. Medicare and health insurance marketplace. Medicare is what you're eligible for when you turn 65. And we're just, Medicare is 65, but it could be younger if depending on other health situations, you could qualify for Medicare if you're younger. But when you're 65, you automatically can enroll in Medicare, yeah. But we want to get the word out, because with the health insurance marketplace, that information will be coming out at the same time that older adults will be getting information about check your Medicare plan. So it'll be a good time for fraud for these businesses that might use misinformation and say, well, you know, the healthcare marketplace is opening up in October and you need to look at the plan that I have for you, and I have this really great plan. When you review your Medicare plan, your current plan, to see if it is what will be best for you in the coming year, especially your prescription plan, it has nothing to do with the marketplace. You do that through Medicare, through Center for Medicare Medicaid Services, CMS. So no one should be telling someone age 65 and older, you need to go to the marketplace. That is not the case. So we just really want to get the word out, because we're thinking there's going to be a lot of misleading advertising. So that's why I included this. This would be something good to copy and give to anybody that you might come across. So. And then the information about the Medicare annual enrollment period, what time that is, October 15 through December 7th, and the website that people can go to review their current plan, and including their prescription drug plan. It's called Part D for Medicare. Any questions about that before I...
Comments or questions on Marcy's report before we move on to the second piece?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Marcy. And next up?
To let you know, too, Friday, September 27th is our annual volunteer recognition, if you would like to come to that. Entertainment's at 11 with lunch at noon. And then the next agenda item is our chore, snow removal, and lawn mowing bids.
All right, so in your packet, you will see the agreements from submitted information for the snow removal and mowing agreements for the 13-14 year.
Move to approve the agreement.
Support. A motion and support has been made. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right,
Great.
thank you. Anything else, Marcy?
No, I think that's
Well,
it.
thank you for all
Okay.
you do.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Section 3 plan is required for implementation of the Community Development Block Grant, which describes the plan to administer Section 3 of HUD's Act 1968. I believe we were looking for approval. Move and support to send to the full board. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the claims from August. A motion and support has been made to move those, to take care of those. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next on the agenda, we have the minutes. We have two meeting minutes from DHS and one from the VA. We also have listed under other business October's reporting schedule, in which Department on Aging, Health Department, Lifeways, Animal Shelter, Community Action Agency, and Region 2 Area Agency on Aging will report. We are now up to the final public comment, if anyone would like to step forward and speak in a public manner. Seeing none, I move any commissioner comments? Then I will move to adjourn.